Now, my talk, listening to my wonderful panellists here, it's a great honour to be here. But I was going to talk about Newcastle innovation over the next 50,000 years. And everyone laughs, because I don't think we think we're going to be around for another 50,000 years, do we? Truly?
Well, I'm not, Johnny.
Well, I don't mean us personally. And getting to Phil McIntyre's talk, I think the whole idea of individual is an illusion. Really, we're just one organism, I think. And my role as an archivist, obviously I get in touch with a lot of historical records, and that's my passion. And I love getting those records out into the internet, because I feel like the more bits and pieces we have of our past, the more of a future we have. So if I put 5 years of past up on the internet, we give ourselves 5 years of future. So if I put up 50,000 years of past, we have 50,000 years of future. That's how I see it. And that could be insane. But there is evidence that human beings in the Hunter region have been around for the last 50,000 years. But unfortunately, we suffer a delusion that we are only 200 years old, that the whole world in this area began with European arrival, and we've just dismissed the entire Aboriginal world that lies underneath our feet, and one of the oldest living cultures in the world, if not the oldest continuous living culture. So they've got a few things to teach us about how to survive for the next 50,000 years. From my point of view, I think our currency is all wrong. I think we put too much faith in money. We stop doing wonderful things because of money. That is idiocy. Absolute idiocy. How many people can't build a house because they run out of inches? That's what Alan Watts, the philosopher, asked, and it was very important. Money is just a measure of things. It doesn't stop you building the house. It's just a measure. We shouldn't let money stand in the road of wonderful things. I think the new currency should be passion. I would like to see billionaires of passion, not billionaires who are able to absorb money. For me, money is like energy. It can't be created nor destroyed. It can only change form and be redistributed. We're not supposed to manufacture money when we get into debt or anything, are we? We're not supposed to print money. So the answer is it can only be redistributed. And that's what's happening at the moment. I think a lot of people have really kept it to themselves, and we're stopping money from getting where it's got to go. It's like water. And that's why we refer to banks as, with money, like banks of a river. There's a lot of water symbolism with money. So for me, I want to see a revolution of thought and mind, much like Copernicus, just trying to get ourselves back on track. To the Aboriginal world, their world revolved around their life on Earth, their families, and the world that they lived in. They had to care about that world, and they had to leave it in such a state that the next generations would be able to care for it just like they have. We're not doing that. We're trashing our future, and you can see that at various sites in the Hunter Valley. There's a beautiful site called the Northern Map Site with engravings that date back about 8,000 years, we think. And there's beautiful representations of emus and kangaroos and all sorts of things there. But there are also these tractor marks where in the 1930s they were logging and they were pulling tractors over. And while I was there, it was a beautiful night, it was full of stars everywhere. You could see the constellations reflected in these engravings. That was the television of the ancient world, is the sky. But that map site was all about survival. Where could you get a feed? Where could you find water? And they directed people. But I wondered to myself, okay, if I go 8,000 years into the future, what am I going to make of this? And you could see that these kangaroos were created by human beings, but what would you make of these tractor marks? These tractor marks are of our time. And then all of a sudden Hollywood came into my mind. And to me, those tractor marks were Darth Vader. We are part man, we are part machine. We think we're humans, but our shadow is that of a machine. We have become machine-driven, and we are destroying ourselves. You can't survive like that. And forget about the engravings. There won't be any engravings. We are that destructive. If you want any evidence, go out to Denman and have a look at what we've done to the landscape out there. I mean, I'm a first-generation Australian. You know, my parents were Italian, and driving around the Australian neighbourhood and the Australian scenery was pretty boring to me in a car. But I tell you, one drive out to Denman now and I crave that boring Australian landscape now, rather than the industrial landscape that we're generating for ourselves. I'm not saying that, you know, innovation is, you know, we can't do any of those things, but we've got to start doing things in companionship with nature and start thinking about what our innovation does. If it's not helping people, if it's not making the world a better place, then don't do it. If you're only doing it because of money, stop doing it. Thank you very much.